welcome all of you to our first ever conversations that we are beginning today. We intend to make this a monthly feature where our focus will remain discussing people because at Ideas Consulting Group, we strongly believe that people make break the organization. The reason of Ideas bringing this formal conversation with their existing clients and people who are in this industry is to formalize the knowledge which exists but hardly gets discussed. The impact of pandemic has made us believe that people's alignment to the work roles will be key for organizations to emerge successfully in this difficult time. Keeping this in mind, we have Mr. Deepak Pramanik as one of the conversationists who is the founder of Ideas Consulting Group and a passionate trainer. Mr. Pramanik strongly believes that people are the cornerstone for business. He is accompanied by Mr. Sumit Singh Arora, who is the Chief Architect of Learning and Development at Ideas Consulting Group. Mr. Arora is an engineer and MBA in HR. He is so passionate about learning and development that he has successfully completed B.Ed and M.Ed courses because he believes the foundation of learning comes from schools. Thank you for participating and let us begin. I sincerely request all of you to keep your microphone on mute to avoid noise from the background. Please switch on your cameras while you converse with us.
Good evening, everybody. This is Deepak here. And thank you very much for sparing time to be with me and Sumit this afternoon. And we intend to add value to your knowledge, your experience, and also look forward to learning from all of you. The way we have structured this conversation is we have some thoughts based on our experience over many, many years of managing businesses and people, which we want to share with you. And we also want to invite your point of view on few issues which we believe needs a discussion across amongst all of us who's present here. While we mentioned that we are looking at people as the key to success for many organizations, I think I'll take a step even further than that. To me, any business is about customers. I am sure all of you will agree that if we do not have customers, we do not have a business. And ultimately, customers in whichever business we are currently operating is about human beings. And the people who serve the customers are human beings on behalf of different organizations. And in order to serve the customers, the organizations have to depend on a business ecosystem, which would include suppliers, business associates, distributors, to satisfy the customer's needs, which is actually evolving and has changed significantly courtesy the impact of the virus under which the entire globe, entire world is reeling under. So what we fundamentally believe in our organization is that it is human motivation which needs to be ignited and managed efficiently and effectively for businesses to grow and prosper, and more importantly, profitably. The focus of today's discussion is actually not meant only for people, those of you who are from HR. I have seen during my corporate life that people believe that KPI, KRAs, appraisals are something which is the KRA of HR, if I may say so. I don't think that's correct thinking. At the end of the day, HR is there to facilitate the entire process. Why are we having KPIs, KRAs, appraisals? Anything that we do related to people is actually to get more out of the teams that we lead, the people that we manage. And I think it is important that we look at the entire conversation today from that perspective. Before we proceed further, we have our experience suggests that the words KPI, KRA, all these have different interpretations in different organizations. For the sake of our own understanding, let us first share our definition of KPI, KRA. And Sumit, would you like to take it forward in terms of the discussions on explaining what we mean?
Surely, sir. Thank you. So, very keenly, very importantly, one very important thing which looks very big on the screen is the results. And that is something which we are all here for and we work for on a day-to-day basis, right? So results is something which is the focus. The customer is the focus. What we want to achieve out of it is the focus. And that is something which comes last. Why does it come last? Because it is a resultant of lot of things. And what are those lot of things? The lot of things, the first part is the efforts which come into picture. All these efforts which come into picture are basically driven by mindset. And a mindset which a person has is equally important, whether it is a productive mindset or a not so productive mindset. A mindset which enables or a mindset which disables is something which is very critical. And the mindset is a key to opening a big potential of a human being. So in spite of having the most potential in a person, the mindset could be the key, which is keeping that person away from putting in the efforts. We have seen in our experience, and I would suggest each one of you, whether it is Amit, Bikas, Mahua, and all those who are here, you could recall people who would you say has the potential, but पता नहीं क्यों रिजल्ट नहीं आ रहा है, या पता नहीं क्यों ये एफर्ट उतना नहीं डाल रहा है, बट जब बात करता है तो वी कैन रिकॉल कि इसमें बहुत सारा दम है. So is it right that we then measure people only by the results they produce, or is it something that we can do better? And that's something which brings us to the thought of measuring these 4 parameters. So when you look at results, we always call KRA, which is a short form for key results area, and which I call very humorously ki kyun rakhe aapko. So one of the most important elements जो हम सबके लाइफ में है, जो हम गोल्स बोलते हैं या क्यों रखें आपको, आपको ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में क्यों रखा है, is the KRA part of it. So KRA is the final thing which we always look at. But अगर results नहीं आ रहे हैं तो और भी कुछ measure करना चाहिए क्या, या results आ भी रहे हैं तो कुछ और measure करना चाहिए क्या? तो yes, you have to look at the efforts part of it. And when we look at the efforts part of it, it is measured using the KPI part of it. That is the key performance indicators. Because when you're putting efforts, you're performing. And what are those key parameters by which I would say, यार ये बंदा effort डाल रहा है, result नहीं आ रहा है, that is a different story. But this guy is putting in his efforts. So the difference क्यों है, that is something which we'll discuss in a few more slides. But KRA, then KPI is something which comes in. But if a person is not putting in efforts, why is that? Is there a mindset issue? And for mindset issues is something which you measure using the Dweck mindset instrument, that is DMI, which really gives you, it's a self-awareness kind of a mindset survey. And you could do it in a 360-degree analysis as well, where you really comment upon the person's ability, which is controlled by the mindset. Is that mindset which is really stopping him to do, or is it really not even this? It is a potential issue. And potential, we have always seen, it could be certificates, it could be degrees, it could be what else you would like to have. But in organizations, you normally look at potential using behaviors. So it is not something which you say कि इसे कितना किताब में है, but वो किस तरह से behave करता है in of his potential as well. That is BARS, that is behaviorally anchored rating scale. So this is something as the base, as the foundation, which we wanted to put forward for all of us to really look at it, that these are the 4 things which we all, if we agree to have a common definition for it, I would invite you guys to tell me if you call this in any different names in your organization. We would love to hear from you कि आप अगर अपने organization में KRA को goals बोलते हैं, KPI को कुछ और बोलते हैं, तो we would love to learn that lingo and learn that vocabulary before we go on to the next slide and initiate discussion based on our first agenda of the day. So Anand, Vikas,
Sumit,
yes, Deepak.
In fact, Sumit, sorry to interrupt you. You know, in many organizations, I have found KRA is called as the key responsibility areas.
Yeah.
Instead of key result areas. And these are, I think, the challenges which organizations need to overcome if they really want to get more out of people. And when you were talking about mindset, potential, efforts, and results, the most classic example I can think of is from Indian cricket. Vinod Kambli versus Sachin Tendulkar. When they started their journey together, Vinod Kambli was supposed to be more talented than Sachin Tendulkar. However, the results that Sachin achieved was essentially because of mindset and efforts. Potential-wise, I think it is they were comparable. Mahua says we use KRA and KPI only as terms. I think you have hit the nail on the head, Mahua. That's true. I mean, that is the entire purpose of this conversation, that it should not remain an academic exercise. All right, I want to invite anyone who wants to speak, please switch on your microphone, put on your video, and if you would like to comment on the section, on that one slide which Sumit has shared so far. Please feel free. The conversation cannot be one way.
Myself,
Yes.
Sakil from Canvas.com. I would like to add some nomenclature. We generally use KRA for key responsibility area. Sometimes key responsibility area.
Yeah.
Right. So you corroborate what I just mentioned just now, Shakil. All right. All right. Anything else? Any other comments? Or Sumit, you can move on to the next slide,
Sure.
please.
Sure. So with this, we invite you to a discussion which is KPIs predict KRAs. So we're talking about the efforts which bring in the results. So if you're talking about, do efforts bring in results? Are you for it? Are you against it? So if I have KPIs, if a person is delivering KPIs, is it sure that the results are going to come in, or do you think no, results do not come in and there are many more factors which could come in? And the discussion is open for all of members who would like to contribute, and my work would be here to put in the notes, and that's something which I'm going to do right away.
Please feel free. There is nothing right or wrong. Please tell us about what are your thoughts on this. I mean, what Sumit is trying to say, we are trying to say is, just if we can sort of set the KPIs for people, does it essentially mean that the results will be achieved? Yes, no, and what are the reasons for it? Anybody, please. Please feel free to talk.
Pradeep, Rajdeep, Ruchi, Samir.
Mohua, I think, wants to speak. Mohua, if you could.
Sir, hello, am I audible?
Yes, but you are not visible. We want to see
Okay.
you.
Okay. So am I visible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say something like when I am setting KRA and KPI for my team members, say for example, a team member who is a marketing guy, whose KRA has been set in terms of like organizing seminar, organizing, road shows, generating leads, and not essentially bringing business. I mean, in terms of conversions. But and the conversion part goes to someone else's KRA and KPI. So while I'm going to evaluate that same resource this year, while I will be looking at his KRA KPI, though whatever conversion has not been brought, but his KRA KPI was only to organize the seminars and bringing data. So, and not essentially, it was mentioned that conversion should be happen. So, how should I evaluate that person's effectivity? Maybe he brought 2000 data, but it was just a garbage because I did not get admission from it. So, how this entire matrix or this exercise will help me to understand the effectivity of that particular resource?
So are you saying, Mahua, we will answer this question, and we have some slides which will answer this question as we progress. So are you saying, therefore, in context to the slide which is being shown on the screen, that it is not always that KPIs can predict KRAs? Are you saying that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What I want to say that maybe the effort was good, best, average, or the KPIs the person maintained, but result did not come. In either way, only KPI or only KRAs may not be able to. I mean, that is my question. How I should evaluate? I mean, is there any science behind it?
Sure. All right. We'll answer this question definitely, Mahua. Anybody else, please, would like to comment? There's nothing right, wrong. Please share your point of view.
Hi, this is Ipshita. I would just like to add on what Mahua said.
Yes.
It is like the individual KRAs. They have to be linked to the KRAs of the organization as well. I mean, the objective of the organization, the vision and mission of the organization. Otherwise, this KRA has got no meaning. I mean, just fulfilling the KRAs will not give us sufficient outcome, effective outcome, if it is not linked to the objective of the organization. I think that is what she meant to say in short, if I am right.
Thank you. There's nothing about being right or wrong. It's a point of view that we are expressing, and the ideas together we learn. That's the idea. Anybody else would like to add something?
Actually, I completely agree with both Mahua and Ipshita. And the last thing what Ipshita said, definitely that's what we also felt. And essentially, it's really tough. We have been facing. It's a really tough thing for us, you know, to inline the object, the mission, vision, and the KPI and the KRA. So, in other words, basically KPIs do not essentially or doesn't necessarily produce the key result areas always.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Razdeep. Anybody else would like to add anything? All right. I think, Sumit, we have got some interesting inputs till this point of time. Any comments from your side?
One of the key things whenever I look at KPI and KRAs too independently is it helps me as a entrepreneur to take my decisions well. Because if I'm not getting results, should I stop the business? Should I look at something else? Or should I really look at my KPIs? Am I performing my KPIs well enough to say that my KRAs are yet to come? Means the cake is baking. It will take some time. Or should I stop baking the cake because I have chosen something wrong? So KPIs and KRAs are two matrices. One of them tells me what effort am I putting and should I wait long for my KRAs to show up, because KRAs are lag factors. KRAs will take some time to come up. It's something like that bamboo which grows when you are pouring water on the soil and you're waiting that a small plant has come up for a few years, and then suddenly in a month or 2 months time, the bamboo shoots out for around 80 feet. So that KPI of keeping the water on, keeping the fertilizers on, the insecticides on, are very important for me to look at objectively and just not related to KRA. We have an interesting comment from Anand as well here. Anand says the amount of effort we put in building KPI and KRA, the same amount of effort should be put in making it clear to the person to ensure both employer and employee are on the same page. Awesome. That's a very important point, Anand. I'll definitely put that down, that bringing employer, that is bringing the reporting manager and the employee both on the same page about understanding what is KRA and KPI is an important point.
All right.
Over to you, Deepak sir.
All right. So, when Sumit was trying to say about baking the cake, that should I continue baking, the cake is yet to come, or should I stop baking at all? I am reminded of myself when I try to do something to lose my weight, and then I look for quick results. And when I don't get them, somehow I tend to either give up or try to reevaluate whether I'm on the right track or not. So one of the key things that these two examples bring about is that we must have clarity in terms of the gestation period between the efforts and the results. Because you cannot expect a child to become a teenager overnight. Unless the child is nurtured through childhood, the child will not move into an adolescence and then to a teenager. It is important that when we are setting the KPI and KRAs, we must be very, very clear in terms of what is the quantity of effort, what is the duration of effort, and most importantly, what is the milestone based progression chart that we are going to look at. At the end of the day, a bamboo shoot from whatever inches to feet that it grows, it doesn't become 1 inch to 10 feet overnight. So it may take from 1 inch to 1 feet 6 months, but from 1 foot to 5 feet, it may take 2 months. So unless we have these milestones clearly charted out, we will not be able to measure whether we are on the right track or not. It is something like when you are traversing a distance between point A to point B, we all create our time-based milestone that if I have to reach from point A to B in 5 hours drive, at the end of 1 hour, approximately, we should be in point Z so that we can know that we are on the track. So the important point, that dimension that I want to bring in is that KPIs, KRAs cannot just be annual features. They have to be continuously governed. Otherwise, there is a chance that the time by which you try corrective measure, by that time, it may become too late. So it is important that, and that actually corroborates to what Anand said, that it is just not an exercise on in terms of a role that HR function does. It is actually something which we must monitor, progress closely if we really want to know results. I'm sure all of us have heard of Jack Welch, who is that legendary person in GE who made GE what it is today. Many people say that. And he had his own style of leadership. Some people say it's controversial, that he had this concept of vitality, and he believed that certain percentage of people should actually be replaced every year for the organization to maintain its vitality. However, one anecdote which I remember hearing from somebody, I tried searching it on the net, I couldn't find, is, GE is a conglomerate of different businesses. And in one particular year, if there are, let's say, 5 businesses, and reporting to Mr. Jack Welch, and their performance bonus was to be declared, he declared the highest bonus out of the 5 people to the person who achieved the least percentage of his target. So let me just give some numbers. So let's say 4 people have achieved business targets set at the beginning of the year at 95% and more. And there is this 5th person who has achieved only 78%. The performance bonus was given to this 5th person, and his logic was simple.
Excuse me, Deepak sir, some voices are coming in the background. So,
all right, can I request all of you to please keep your microphone on the mute? So what Jack Welch did was, he decided to reward the maximum performance bonus to the person who achieved only 78 or 80% of target. The reason is simple. The reason is that business does not happen in a vacuum. It does not happen in isolation. And while assessing a person in terms of KPI, KRAs, It must be in context to the business scenario, in context to the market scenario, and we must differentiate businesses which, as we call, has a tailwind vis-a-vis a business which is having a headwind. So therefore, it is important that while both pilots who fly a aircraft with the tailwind reaches early, of course, needs to fly it safely, should get a credit. However, a pilot who drives through a lot of turbulence should be given higher credit, because it is important that the person's efforts needs to be seen in context to the business reality. And if we are not sensitive to this in terms of the people whom we manage, we are unlikely to get the type of results that we look at. So the question which comes to our mind, and that's the next slide, where again we invite you to discuss.
We have a hand raised of Pradeep. Pradeep, you wanted to say something?
Please.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir.
Go ahead,
Right.
Pradeep.
My question is, sir, how we can measure managers' competency as a KPI? Is there any tool, sir?
All right. First, let me answer this question. Sumit, you can also add to what I said. Pradeep, let me just clarify one thing. Managers' competency is not a KPI. It is basically a skill. And what we do is we measure his competencies through different methods. One of the methods could be attrition rate. One method could be how many people that he has led has moved up the organizational chart. How many new inductees in the team are having lesser gestation period as compared to somebody else. So what we need to do is, if we really want to measure the competence of a manager, we need to define KPIs which are, or KRAs which are in sync to measure this. We will talk about measurement and many other important parameters that we need to keep in mind, which Sumit will be discussing. Sumit, anything you would like to add to the answer which I give to Pradeep?
No, perfectly good. Pradeep, job description, it all begins with, from job descriptions, you create your KPIs. From KPIs, you create KRAs, and bars is one of the ways where you measure the potential of a person and how he's performing.
All right. So the next question which comes to us is that, all right, if everything goes fine in any organization, we set KPIs, KRAs, everything as it should be. Does it guarantee results? We invite your point of view. Is the process in itself self-sufficient to give results? Or is there something beyond? Any questions? Anybody can comment.
I think regular review and monitoring and tracking is also important. Just setting the KRA and putting it aside may not help.
Okay, so you meant to say regular monitoring
and putting the person in the right path if he or she is deviating from the target.
Okay. So
rather than giving the feedback during the appraisal at the end of the year, I mean to say.
So it's with monitoring, you need mentoring wherever required.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what is going to help. Any other thoughts, please? Let me ask a question at this stage. I mean, there are different organizations being represented in this group. How many organizations that you are working with actually take this as a very sacrosanct exercise, which is all about regular monitoring, reviewing, and things like that?
I would like to add on this. Like at the beginning, people are really enthusiastic whenever the KRAs are set from both ends, from the management as well as from the employees. So they can take it up for a month or so, but gradually, if it is not in the focus line, So towards the end of the period, it is often seen that where we started and where we are today doesn't match basically.
You know, Ipshita, you bring me to a very important point, and I again relate it to my efforts to lose weight. I always believe that success inspires me to put in more efforts, and that success can be self-asserted, and if it is reinforced by people who matter in the organization, then the entire acceptance, the embracement, and the application of the concept gains more momentum. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, would definitely agree.
There's one more important point, Deepakda, if I could add
Alright.
here before I
Sumit?
invite Shloka, is that whenever we look at implementing of anything, if I create the proper barriers, if I create the proper stones in through which the water should flow in, it really helps him. So as important is wins, equally important is the support structure. Deepak is continuously giving his weight example, and I would like to add that if you have those proper structures in place, many a times your early wins are not so important, but with those structures, you can at least gaze through. And that's what KPIs talk about. New wins and quick wins are all KRAs, which you're talking about. Yes, Shlok, you wanted to add something? Please go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, so it's also possible to get results without KRAs, right? So a lot of smaller organizations or SMEs where you have say 5, 10 or 20 employees. So you don't have any competency mapping or mindset testing and no KPIs or KRAs. And still people manage to perform and they are not aware of what a KR is or even how to set one for themselves.
True. So, Shloka, is there a drawback in that method, or is that the method which should be normally followed?
No, there's definitely a drawback to that. I agree with you. Yeah, it sounds like it's not the optimum approach.
You know, Shlok, if you look at the family-run own businesses in India, and some very big ones too, and them really have very archaic, etc., and about success. And that is what makes a lot of business owners think that it could be that I am too small to have a KRA KPI, or how does it matter? I am getting so much success, I'm growing year on year, I'm getting profitability. So what it is only an additional work for the team. There are two things which people forget. First, you could have done better, point number one. But that's about the business results. I personally think there is an even further and much greater implication of not having KPI KRAs. Let us understand this pandemic. We know many organizations decided either to utilize this opportunity to reduce manpower or were forced to reduce manpower because the business circumstances changed dramatically. So at that point of time, whom to retain and whom to let go, it was a very subjective decision. Whomever I think is good could be dependent on whether he tells me good morning every day or not versus somebody who doesn't even look at me when I walk into the office. Now, those cannot be parameters for deciding who's good or not so good. Point number one. And point number two, and which I think is the larger point, that people do not change organizations. They change managers. And without KPI, KRA, and a robust system, as Sumit said, that if you have the pathway clear where people can flow along that, which we believe KPIs do, unless we have those guidelines, that frameworks in practice, you may actually lose good quality resource. And believe me, 30 years since I have graduated out of IIM, my experience suggests that people who leave are the more competent ones. Actually, the incompetent people have to be thrown out. They are comfortable where they are and they are not bothered. Whereas in the KPI KRA scenario, at times you find that somebody who is supposedly great may not be actually as great. That's one. Second, lot of positivity is created in the senior's mind based on results alone. And if you cannot pinpoint the reason for success, I think that is worse than a well-explained failure. And that is where people go wrong. People become prima donnas. People, they think they are larger than the organization. And that is when the senior management starts worrying that if we tell something to this person, he may lose motivation and the company will lose business. That's because it is extremely subjective. And the last point that I want to add to the question that you asked, it doesn't matter to the size of the organization, doesn't matter. It is like, if let's say today in any home, you have a one child, two children phenomenon, right? But the parents try and want to achieve, want to ensure that the children have a good academic career and subsequently a good work career. And they try and support the child into achieving this. It's a very loose form of KPI, KRA, which we apply at home, right? So therefore, the size of the organization doesn't matter. What matters is the attitude and whether the owner of the business has the mindset to believe that this is going to help his or her business. Otherwise, it will not work. One thing which happens, which I must tell people who are business owners, that if you go by this exercise, you may not have that freedom to reward or give extra money to people who are your favorite, because the numbers may not justify. Well, what we have got is a few slides where we have picked it up from a video which we have by Stephen Covey. And this is a study by Harris Polling Group, where it was found that amongst the people surveyed, only 15% of the people surveyed could identify with the organization's goals and top priorities. Ipshita, your point comes in here. And the reason that was found is because either organizations have too many goals or they change too often. But more importantly, the point which Anand made and some of you made, I think Ipshita only made, that it is vastly under-communicated. Just because the owners and the senior management are clear about the organizational goals does not mean that the security guard who is standing at the gate 24/7, he also knows what the goals are and what is his role in achieving that goals. Not only that, amongst the people who are aware of the goals of the organization, this survey reports that only 19% of those actually are passionate about these top goals. If you come to think of it, that 1 out of 5 person in this entire organization, Sumit, is your internet having problems? Slide is not changing.
Want me to go to the next slide?
Yeah, please. 19% of the people, Anand just made a comment. Sumit, pick it up. We'll have a discussion after I finish this first slide. The important point is I may know what the organization wants to achieve, but if I'm not passionately involved about it, I will not do my part. And if you see, it's a very worrisome situation that 1 out of 5 people who know they are only passionate, and which means that there is no ownership of the organization's goals and people are not emotionally connected. So what happens, each person works in his or her silo. If at all he works and thinks of his own goals without much thought in terms of the team as well as the organization goals. Very interesting. We talk of time management. So next slide, please. Time management. This survey again says that people actually spend only 49% of their total work hour or time spent at work on the organizational goals and top priorities. So half the time, but you're paying the full money. So that's the point that we're trying to make, that you are paying the money that you have promised to your employees at the end of the month. And of that, only 15% are aware of what your organization's goals are. Out of the 15%, only 19% are passionately involved. And more importantly, of all the people who are working in the organization, their 50% time is only being spent on organizational goals. Because they're too distracted, they are focusing on the urgent, they are trying to just firefight. They are not looking at things which are important and which may make a difference at a now and beyond. And believe me, this becomes extremely important now, given the pandemic, given the way that we are working. A lot of us are working from home. Organizations have started working remotely. And therefore, what earlier the belief was that if I can see the person in front of me, I believe that his mind and soul into work. But this survey suggests otherwise, that only 50% of his time is being devoted to the work that he is doing to achieve the organizational goals. The other point that we want the survey reveal is that, I may know what the organizational goals are, but I do not understand how I contribute to that goal from my side. Let me give an example. I was once doing a training program for the sub staff at a premium retail client who's our client, and I was doing a training program for them. And I was asking that, do you know what you are doing? He said, yes, sir. We tell everybody at home in the neighborhood that we work for this company, which is a very prestigious company. But I tell them, do you tell them what you do? He said, I found everybody was silent. I said, no, sir. How can we tell, sir? We are just serving tea to the customers. We are doing some errands in terms of taking the invoice from this point to this other point. How can we tell this? That is when I realized that these people do not understand that whatever they are doing is actually a part of the service that the organization is giving to the customer. And then I gave a very important analogy, and that's when I found that they had suddenly their faces brightened up. I said, what do air hostesses do? They serve tea and coffee to people who are flying in that aircraft. So why are they so proud of their profession? The point that I'm trying to make is, unless I, at the bottom level of the hierarchy, feel that I am also contributing to the largest goal of the organization, I don't feel my self-worth. And that is very, very important. And that comes by first understanding the role of the person, and also how it is aligned to the goal of the senior most member of the organization, which is actually the organization's KRA. So one of the things that Sumit and I do whenever we do KRA KPI workshops is we try and fix the KRA KPI of the senior most person in the organization. And anybody else in the organization should be a derivative of that KRA KPI. So if, let's say, Sumit is the senior most person in an organization and I am a junior 7 levels below in his hierarchy, my KRA KPI should be a part of what Sumit has done, what Sumit has to deliver. And when that alignment comes in, that is when we realize that there is huge traction. Sumit, so KPIs, do they reflect effort?
Please. Yes, please. So most important thing is what even Anand added, that defining KRA is just like defining a process, and it will improve or ensure efficiency of the involved members if they actually follow the process. So unless otherwise, if I define a KPI and
can I request, please, microphone, please put it on mute, otherwise there is background noise. Thank you.
Yeah. So whenever I define a KPI, whenever I look at KPI reflecting efforts, one important question which comes in is, am I really looking at a KPI or am I looking at an effort? I love to give that Amazon deliveries example, where earlier they had a lot of complaints they used to receive that your person did not come, or this did not happen, or I was there, your guy did not come in only. and hence I'm rejecting. And what Amazon guys started doing was that whenever the guys reached there, they started clicking the photograph of the closed door or of the person pressing the bell and putting it back to the person, saying that we had come and this is the evidence of it. It was not just to keep a record for themselves, but they used a process that we would click a photograph and send it to the person that I had come. Now, by doing that, the 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 complaint of the customer reduced by an alarming 80%. So there were only 20% of those guys which really came back, even then saying ki boss tumhara photo jhoot hai. Otherwise 80% of them who used to just say that ki I was there, man, you didn't come in, it was the blame part of it, stopped happening. So the question here is, and Devdutt, I would invite you to speak as well, your hand is on, or for every one of you here, is that can KPIs really reflect effort? Can you really measure, can you really define the effort? And like what Mahua was saying very truly, that database collection is the effort. So can I define it in the KPI very correctly? Can I really define the quality of the data? Can I really define the way the data is collected in my KPIs so that they really reflect the right effort? Over to you guys. I'm ready for my notes taking, and do give us some inputs.
Devdutt, you wanted to say something?
Yes, not related to the last question that Sumit sir asked, but my question to you is to you, Deepak sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Go ahead.
Okay, you have given an example of a premium retail chain of those who serving teas, and you compared and you have told them that you compared them with the air hostesses. Now my question is to you that yes, so first thing they need to understand that how they are serving to their important while serving the customers, and how they are connected to the goal. That I understand, and that realization might be not there in the first case, which is retail chain. My question is that what is your experience, whether, because we all know that how much privileged air hostesses are, their facilities, their payments, that also need to be counted. But even if in the retail any retail chain or something like that, there might not be the same case. As per my experience, that might not be always there. But what do you think, if those facilities and payments are not in the same scale, and still would that work? If they understand the goal, but there is a difference between the payments, whether that is work or not.
Wonderful.
Good question, Devdutt. So let me answer it straightforward. If you have been with us since the beginning, it is about potential mindset KPI KRAs. That is what Sumit discussed in the first slide. So what we get paid depends on what we have done in life thus far. That determines our market value. So the market value depends from person to person in terms of whatever you've achieved, studied, etc., etc. But that doesn't mean that if you pay more, you will get better outputs. Because at the end of the day, the output depends on what is your inherent skill, what is your inherent knowledge, what has been your exposure, and that is being given to the work that you are trying to do. However, the point that I'm trying to make is, while you are absolutely right that the compensation of an air hostess cannot be compared with a person who's serving tea in a store, I don't think the expectation of this person also is that much money. What happens in my experience, Devdutt, first of all, nobody in the organization gives these people the importance that they deserve. And today, I believe the crisis and the pandemic has actually enhanced their worth in the eyes of people. Look at our homes. The people who come as servants to our home, the drivers who used to drive our cars, when they were missing because of the pandemic, suddenly we felt their value. That's the point number one. Point number two is, who has had the question which we always ask, have you invested in explaining why he is important to the organization? Or he comes here, Just because he has to be here from 9 to 5, he has to serve few cups of tea, and he goes home and he takes the money. That's the point. Third point, and I think it's very important. My last corporate organization was in a media house. And that is where I realized that the advertising which gets printed on a newspaper is the effort of the sales team which goes and procures the advertising. But the advertising appears as per the conditions agreed with the advertiser happens because of the support team which actually places the advertisement in the night and ensure that it appears in the newspaper next morning. They never was given any rewards. They were never given any performance bonus. So that entire pipeline, you are giving the recognition at the beginning and you are forgetting the pipeline in between. So let's say if you are a farmer, and I'm deliberately talking farmer with the farmers agitation going everywhere. I as a farmer can produce what I am producing. But if there is a supply chain in between, that person also needs to deliver that my goods reach fresh to the market who finally sells. So you cannot look at the value chain in isolation. You have to look at the integrated efforts of everybody within and outside a business to deliver the results that the business wants to achieve, to deliver the profitability, to deliver the customer satisfaction. And believe me today, profitability is a direct function of customer satisfaction. You can never, ever, today markets are so tight, so competitive. Pricing is not in our hand. But if customer satisfaction is high, then you have the most powerful tool of marketing where one customer gets you more customers. And therefore, your cost of acquisition of new customers will go down. And that is a significant addition to the bottom line. Many people don't look at this. So the point that we are trying to make is, let me give an example. In FMCG companies, the sales people have to make X number of retailer visits during a day, and that's given. And people will give those retailer visits, but then two people, both meeting their KPIs, so to speak, but the KRA, the achievement of sales target person is much higher than person B. So therefore, what is it? It is not only the quantity of effort which is important, it is the quality of effort which becomes more important. And therefore, today you will find this FMCG companies having handheld devices where they visit a retailer, the GPS automatically geoscans his or her presence there. Smith, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So just one point before I invite Rajneesh and Mahesh into the discussion who have initiated their hands. That, sir, as per a recent survey which has been done across organizations, they say money is the hygiene factor. You cannot do away without money. Money is definitely needed. Without that, nothing happens. But for work motivation, three important things which they talk about. One is clarity in their role. If the person doesn't have clarity in their role, he doesn't perform. Second is acknowledgement. If a person brings in a cup of tea to the customer when you're sitting across a Maruti showroom and you are explaining to them about the Maruti models, and the person comes in and gives the cup of tea and water and everything, if you look at him, smile and say, Sumit, धन्यवाद, बहुत अच्छा लगा, सर लीजिए चाय, हमारे सुमित बहुत अच्छी चाय बनाते हैं, वो बहुत ख्याल रखते हैं हमारे customers का. Now that's that appreciation, that's that acknowledgement which I see Deepak Da always practicing, and that's something which you have to do. And the last thing which people look at it is, am I developing and achieving something in the organization? मेरा इस organization में कुछ growth हो रहा है क्या, कुछ achievement हो रहा है क्या? And that keeps them motivated. So किसी भी role में हो, if you can as a manager help these guys do it, that's something which is important. Mahesh and Rajneesh, over to you. Sorry.
Well, to the point that Deepak Da had just made, a point just before this, which was support teams, do they receive rewards or not? But it has actually, I've seen this, working across industries and across organizations past, 30
Rajneesh, everybody wants to see you. Please put on your video. Come on, you can't hide yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just that I'm camera shy. That's it.
Yeah, that's okay. But we want you to be camera friendly. Please tell us.
Okay. So, support team not getting the rewards and the team which is in the front line taking away the monthly incentives and the quarterly incentives and the annual incentives.
Rajnish, I think is having network issues.
Other than the salaries that they are getting across the organization. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Then I think I'll have to switch off the camera.
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
yes.
switch off the video, please.
Yeah. So, rewarding the support staff, wherever my experience tells me that wherever you can institutionalize in including them in the reward system, it works great. Hence, wherever possible, what I have done, during the leadership roles that I have been in so far, is that while individual performances matter a lot to the individuals, the group performance is equally important, because at the end of the day, the organization gets to benefit it only if the group achieves the given task.
Absolutely.
So I have been able to handle this by dividing the reward part, which is the incentive part, into two parts: individual performance, which is about 50% of the weightage, and group performance, when the team achieves the awards. And when the team achieves the results and there's an award which is affixed to it, the entire support staff gets equal money out of this, and this has worked wonders so far.
Excellent value addition, Rajnish, to the conversation that we are having. Excellent.
And Deepak, while working together in one organization, I could not institutionalize it because there were many pushbacks across. I was delighted to see that the team which got its individual incentives, they pooled their money together and rewarded those two team members, who were taking care of the most important, backroom part of a publication, which is scheduling. And they were given not money, but products in kind, something like a microwave oven, which they probably had to wait for another 5 years to buy if they were to be left on their own. And you can't imagine the kind of joy it created, the kind of bonhomie it created within the team after that.
In fact, Rajnish, thank you for being with us today and adding value to what we are discussing. And that has been the idea of putting together this conversations, and we intend to have it every month. And we want all of you to come back and get more people to join us, because this sharing of ideas is what enriches all of us. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Rajnish. Mahesh,
thank
you wanted to say something?
Am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Yes, please.
Just looking at one of the things, whatever you told about, the FMCG and the performance, individuals' performance. So while talking about KRA and KPI, adding for individuals' performance is cash, that is knowledge, attitude, skills, and habit. Adding these things, will it actually increases the individual's performance? And can you just throw us some light on this?
All right, thank you. Good question. Sumit, would you like to take that, or you want me to?
Go ahead, sir. We are going to cover this in the last slide when we are talking about the skill wheel. So you can.
Right. However, let me just quickly add to it.
Sure.
That's the point that we have been talking about when I gave that example of Sachin and Vinod Kamli. Knowledge, attitude, and knowledge. When we say knowledge, it's not about what you remember. To us, knowledge is the one which you can apply. I may know everything, but if I don't apply in life, that's no point in terms of knowledge. Am I right or wrong? So knowledge, attitude, skill, habit, these are the intersection of all this is actually what makes a person more successful, less successful. But you know what? The point that I want to make is always people measure success in terms of अपने life में किया क्या है, दूसरे आपके बारे में क्या सोचते हैं. But to me, that's not the point. To me, the point is we don't think of ourselves. I think we first owe whatever we do in life to ourselves. We live life for ourselves, but we are so bothered, so concerned about what others think of us that we forget who we are, and what we forget to enjoy the success that we achieve, and we are jealous of the success which others achieve. You know, in organizations, and Rajnish perhaps can relate to this. I have got 200 rupees increment. Rajnish has got 300 rupees increment. Both of us have got increment, but one of the, I'm not saying Rajnish, let me reverse it around. Rajnish has got 200, I have got 300. Both of us have got increment. I am not happy that I have got rupees 100 more than Rajnish. My worry is, why is he getting 200? He should not have got 200. I belittle my achievement in comparison to somebody else's achievement. It's a very fundamental problem that happens. You know what? Why it happens? It is because the employees do not have faith in the objectivity of appraisals that happen in organizations. And that is where I think the starting point is a well-structured KPI, KRA effort, KRA, and the way forward and implementation of that. Sumit, we are running a little behind.
Yes. I'll be there. So the key is that if you really do not want people to do this comparison, which Deepakda was talking about, you create KRAs which are smart, as we always have heard about it. And we could also create KPIs which could be smart. And what is this we talk about? We always talk about being specific, being measurable, being agreeable. So this is something which many a times doesn't really happen. For KRAs, you are really told top to bottom, saying, okay, this is what the organizational goal is. So this is CEO's goal. So this is HOD's goal. So there is no amount of discussion which is required. Some organizations do both way. Yes, I have heard of it happening. But in KPIs, this can be done at a very larger level, because you're really not looking at KRAs to be achieved, but you're really looking at a KPI to be done so as to achieve a goal. So you could take any road, but reaching there is important. And that's something which is important. So like Mahua's example in the beginning, which was about collecting data. So if I'm looking at creating leads for an organization, creating revenue for an organization, which is KRA, the KPI may be to collect data in which way. Would I buy a data? Would I go and fill in my data? Would I go and interview a data? So I could agree to different methods of doing it. And that is something which I could look at as agreeable KPI. Then comes is relevant. Many a times KPIs come in and they are not really directly related to KRAs in certain way because of either oversight or because of lack of so much of concern, or maybe because the department doesn't have a very good defined KRA. Like sales, everybody knows. Numbers hai, sale hoga, paisa aega, collection comes in, so the KPI is this. So you have to do this. So you have to visit so many doctors. So you have to do so many calls. So that becomes a very clear, relevant KRA KPI, or you have to collect so much things. But when it comes to a support department, like the sister department marketing, you have to create social media posts, you have to create likes, you have to create a certain amount of other things, maybe the research and development, or the academics, or maybe a production department where production yes, you can very clearly see that yes, you have this production happening. But what about design, the sister department? Now, can I really have checklists which can come in so as to define the relevance of my KPIs, which are specific and measurable? And that's something which you have to create. Even for marketing, you could have a checklist. So when you write a blog, does it match the checklist which is defined or not? The second R, which is recordable, is equally important. And if that doesn't happen, it doesn't work very well. I'll give you a personal example here. My son is in 10th standard and he plays a lot of games. And the only way I could control him from playing those online PUBG and all those games was I kept a register in front of me. And I said, whenever you want to play game, you have to come over here, write the start time and the end time, and then carry the game back to play. And if I find you without an entry over here in the register, you would not be able to play the game for the next 2 days. And believe me, the consequences and the easiness of picking up and writing down has now have himself monitored that he plays somewhere between 70 to 90 minutes or sometimes 100 minutes a day of the whole thing of the game which he wants to play every day. I'm happy because I do not have to say anything about him. Grandparents are very clear about it that itna hi khelta hai, isse zyada nahi khelta hai. And all these have to result into time, because unless otherwise it doesn't come in time, it doesn't work. One very important thing which Deepak Das said was that KPIs shouldn't be a 1-year event. KPIs could change every week, could change every 15 days, could change every month. And that is something which is the manager's decision. So the whole thing about this KPIs finally come in. Who is KPI's parents? Who owns this discussion? Deepak Das.
In fact, let me just add to what Sumit said before I come to this. You know, in real estate, we have a client, and one of the things that we all know about real estate that we never buy a flat unless we have done a site visit, gone and seen the site, right? And that has always been a KPI for teams. What we did and discovered that a person may be willing to buy, but he's not finding time to come to the site. So we created a new KPI for the sales team saying that you have to go and visit the customer and showcase the site using video from the person's office or house. So the KPI changed, and that is what impacted the results. Now, two things before we go on to the next slide, which is very important, that who's the parent of KPIs. This recordable part which Sumit mentioned, and he gave a wonderful example of his son, is very important. I do it myself. Let me tell you one thing. I do have to send a lot of emails to different people, or I have to create presentations to make in different fora. One of the things I realized when I did my time in this thing, that I was at times giving much more time than I initially thought I was. And then I corrected myself to improve the utilization of my own time. That was possible because of the recordable easily. We use a free software in our organization where we record everything that we do. And that analysis actually helped me to improve my time management. We are actually running behind schedule. Thank you for being patient with us. We'll take another 10 minutes at the most. The next question is, who is the guardian? Who is the parents of KPI? Success has many fathers. Failure has none, is something which we all know. But the point Ipshita made, point Anand made, some of the other points that came across the discussion is all about that the KPI cannot remain an exercise on paper. It needs to be sort of embraced and applied. So the question is, who is the parent of KPI? Any thoughts? Anybody? Okay. Since time is, yeah, all right. Sumit, you want to say something?
Yeah, so the analogy of parents when it comes in, it is something which is the dad and the mom part of it which comes in to look at a KPI. So who is going to give birth to the KPI and who is going to seed the thought of KPI? If we could really look at it from that point of view, the point which I get is that the HR has to seed in the thought. The birth has to be given by the department or the reporting manager, because unless until the department manager finds it useful, they would abort it. They would abort the baby. They would abort the KPI. They would just keep it as if it is an adopted child. And that's something which I always look at from the KPI perspective.
In fact, I'll go a step back, Sumit. I would say it begins with the business owner. So the business owner has to first realize that having structured KPI and applying it is actually going to benefit his or her business. And HR as a department, its role is all about coordinating, facilitating, and ensuring that things get done. But ultimately, it is every individual, along with its reporting managers, who have to do it. I don't know how many of you watched the Manchester City versus Liverpool game yesterday. One of the things which Manchester City coach Pep does, and I think he is one of the best motivators of people, he divides the entire pitch into small zones, and each member is responsible for his zone and achieve what he needs to do in his zone with the collective understanding of how the rest of the team plays. And that's why they play such efficient football. That's why they play such clean football. That's why they play such a non-violent football, if I may say, and that's why they play such disciplined football. So the point that I'm trying to make is that the business owner has to agree that this is important. HR will facilitate the entire process of getting it created and sort of that periodic review, etc., taking place. But finally, the child will only blossom if the functional manager and each member of the team is able to embrace, internalize, and apply. And it all begins with what Mr. Covey said, that it is all about the person getting aligned to the entire organization's KPI. Let's move on to the last two slides, Sumit. This gentleman has got more than 600 wickets in Test cricket, and he himself did not know how much his ball will spin. He was not a very talented player. It was not his skill. Shane Warne, for example, was a great, skillful bowler. So what we believe is that only skill alone may not give you the type of success that you can. Along with skill, and this is where Mahesh, your cash comes in, you need the right type of will to achieve. Now, this is a very common concept which a lot of HR functions know and are aware of. You know what? And that is what bothers me. We know a lot of things, but we do not apply them. How often have we actually basketed our people at different levels into these four quadrants by objectively measuring them on their will and skill? And believe me, it can only happen if we begin with a formal and structured effective FTI KRA implementation, because at the end of 6 months or 1 year, you will then have enough data, recordable. Remember, recordable, relevant, the two R's as Sumit has used. People may think that he has gone to one of those Jyotishi who has said, put one more R, you will get more business. And that becomes very, very important for the starting point. You do it for 6 months, 1 year, I can tell you with guarantee that one can objectively basket all members of the team into these four baskets. And do you realize the importance of this exercise? How much buy-in it will create? How much internalization of people understanding will take place in the organization for the senior people in the organization to navigate and steer the organization in the direction which makes a difference. Any question on this slide? All right, Sumit, anything as the concluding thoughts that you would like to share?
Yeah, so not on the just on the KRAs and KPIs part of it, is that whenever you look at KRAs, you look at KPIs or any of them, these are all numbers. These are all figures, and figures do not tell you the whole thing. They just tell you where to look deep. And that is something which is very important. Like that iceberg thing from a ship, when you look at it, you can just see the tip of it. And by seeing the tip of it, you have to have that experience. You have to have that judgment that you have to move the ship away from the iceberg. How far? You cannot just say that, okay, the tip seems to be so far off, so I can go a bit closer and do it. But you have to really keep looking at the tips in the sea. And that's what business is all about. You keep looking at the indicators, and then you take the judgment based on your experience on how far do you want to navigate, how close do you want to go and burn your hands. And that's something which is the whole key objective of what we are really looking at. And if I may conclude with Peter Drucker's very important two very simple statements. He says, if you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. So if you really want to improve anything, you should be knowing how to measure it. And if you do not know how to measure it, if you are not able to measure it, how would you manage it? So unless until you find certain ways of looking at it, however subjective the thing might be, the best thing to do is to ask the other person to say, can you objectively do a self-appraisal of your performance, of how you work? And that's the first step when we do in a KRA, KPI meeting, discussion, mentoring discussion. Then that is where we learn from the individual. And the person who does 50, 60 calls a day, he himself says, these are my top 5 calls. And then you help him identify what are the top 5 performance indicators out of it, not the results. And that is where you could really sharpen your skills to do all this. With Peter Drucker, finally, I believe if there are no questions to come in, we would love to continue the conversations with you throughout. Remember to be in touch, because untouchability is a crime. And we would love to look at all your faces and do a big group photograph. If we could all switch on our videos so that we could look at all of us together in one screen. And I'd invite every one of you to come ahead, bring in your best smile. And if there's somebody who's going to do the honors of closing the meeting, I'll leave the discussion to you.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Did you find it useful, relevant? Did we add value to what you already knew? Any comments? Please give us feedback where we can do better. We know we have one area is we have been 15 minutes more than what we had requested. And next time maybe we'll budget 90 minutes to it so that people are prepared with a 90-minute window. But I'm thankful to all of you for having joined us today and giving us 75 minutes of your valuable time. We have learned from you. Hopefully we have added some value to your knowledge and your experience. Do tell us, please, it's your forum now. Tell us what you want to tell us, good, that things we need to improve, whatever.
Yes, Deepak sir, it is very nice and knowledgeful discussion. We have gathered lots of insights that we can and we will definitely need to implement in our respective roles. And definitely, I would like to hear a lot more in this topic. And you have already mentioned that one of the feedback could be that you could spare some more time. But since you are also starting it, so I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Thank you, Sumit sir. Thank you.
In fact, next month, we intend to take this conversation forward in terms of how to do effective appraisals. Do you think it's a relevant topic?
Yes, and also one topic I am looking forward to, that how to measure several soft skills, for example, leadership and communication. These are very tough to measure, right? Because these are not measurable as sales or something like that. So although in this topic also, you have covered some part of it, but definitely I would love to go deeper on that.
Okay. Any other comments? Any other thoughts?
We got different perspectives.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Pshita, go ahead.
Yeah, we got to know different perspectives on KPI, KRA, and the difference. Now the next one would be goal setting and how to take it forward effectively. I think we are looking forward to that.
Sure.
Thank you, both of you.
Okay, those of you who are interested, we have another different program on coming Friday 12th, that's at 6 p.m. in the evening, where two experts will discuss about how to romance brands digitally. And is it that we are doing something more than what the customers want? So 6 p.m. you will see the announcement on our LinkedIn page. It's again a different program. We call it Insights, where we get experts to come and discuss on any particular subject. And if you are interested, look out for the announcement on the LinkedIn and spread the word around. We really want to share our experience and expertise, given the fact that now people are more sort of inclined to listen to people digitally. And whatever we know is what we have learned from the universe, whatever we have learned from others. And if we can share with people, others who can benefit from it, that's the best thing that can happen to us. So the series
Good
of
afternoon,
this we are
sir.
going to have. Good afternoon.
Sir, just want to
Somebody was
know
saying.
what is the process to develop such candidates who belongs from low skill and low will.
It's Bishweshwar Ghosh. Yeah. So do you really need to keep them in your organization? That's the
Would you
first
like to take
question,
it?
Bishweshwar, we have to ask.
Wow.
Do I really need to keep these people in my organization? Are they relatives?
Exactly, sir.
Are they really somebody whom you really want them to be there in the organization? That's the first question you need to ask. Because you need to put in a lot of efforts for low skill and low will people. And one of the reasons why a person could be low will could be because of the manager as well. And that's another question which we need to look at. Is the person's low will because of me? Because low skill can be improved very easily. You could send them for a training program. You could ask them to read something, have some online courses assigned to them, and skills can be improved quickly. If you have done those efforts, then it is the right time to go to HR, sit across and say, these are the 10 efforts which we have already done to change them from low skill to high skill, or these are the things which I have already done for changing them from low will to high will. I give up and let me have some. I'm sorry, I'm very blank and blunt in saying this, but this is what I believe about low skill.
You know, Bideshwar, I think the important point is the measurement in terms of both ways. If you're saying somebody is low high skill, personal biases make us believe a person to be low will or low skill. That if we can overcome, and for that we must set the SMART principle, as Sumit sir has said, and then measure over a period of time through recording, through support, like Ipshita said, monitoring and mentoring, before we give up on something. It is very easy to give up, but the entire satisfaction of managerial competence is when we can actually make a low will, low skill person to a moderate will, moderate skill, and then to a high will and high skill. That's the key. All right.
So, sir, there is any
If there are no
measuring
more questions,
sir, is there any measuring time? It's 1 quarter or 2 quarter? We can try to develop.
sure, absolutely, absolutely.
A
A quarter is a decent time to see the indicators. Absolutely right, Dinesh. So the last frame for us, please switch on your cameras. And who's going to click the photo? Sajid, will you do that, please? Please switch on your cameras. I think we